Good evening, America, and welcome to Real Fellas Talk Sports, where we don't argue sports. Sometimes we have different arguments, but we don't argue sports. We discuss sports. And tonight we have a new panelist joining us for the Real Fellas Talk Sports by the name of Neil Abels. How you doing, Neil?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Welcome to the show. And for those of you in the DMV, Neil is a former football player at Bellew High School, as well as a track star. And he was also a track star at Delaware State. And he's also a sports enthusiast. So, hey, also we got my old longtime friend, Chuck Snowden. How you doing, Chuck?
Hey, what's up, Larry? Hey, welcome aboard, Neil.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Neil, you must be one. You must. You're the good-looking Abel. Is that the situation? Glad to have you, my friend. Glad to have you.
What kind of comment you got, man? What's wrong with you?
And last but not least, we're going to welcome the sports doctor himself, Go Go Earl. How you doing, Earl?
I'm doing great. Wait a minute. I'm doing great, Larry. Charles, you're not gonna be telling my boy Larry like that, man. What's up with you, man? Go out. Get out of here with that crap.
Oh, I was just having some fun.
No harm done, man. We can rock and roll, man. We can rock and roll. Okay, let's get right into the NBA playoffs. As everybody knows, Golden State won the other night and they're up 3-2. Is the series over? And we're going to start with you, Neil. You think the series is over?
No, I think Boston's going to win. No, I think Boston's going to win. I think they're going to show up. They do need a third person other than Tatum and Jalen, but I think they're going to show up and take this one. They need to watch Steph because he had a terrible game, so they need to be careful.
How do you think? What do you think, Chuck? Is it over yet?
I think the series. Oh God, I picked Boston to win it. I think the series is over, even if they win tomorrow night. To Neil's point, and I think the tide changed when it was 2 games to 1. Boston had the lead, and the game was tied with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in Game 4, and Golden State won, tied up the series. I think that's where the series got lost for Boston.
Go. What about you? Is the series over?
So what did I say at the beginning of the series? To answer your question, I don't want to waste time because we've been. Yes, I told you Golden State was winning in 6. The series is over. No, the series isn't over. It will be over after tomorrow.
Okay, all right. So, Earl, what were the keys to Golden State's victory in Game 5? I mean, when you look at it, Curry shot horribly by his standards, at least. Didn't even score a 3 for the first time in over 200 games.
Yeah.
How did Golden State pull that off?
I have no idea, except for like what Charles was crying about the other day. The turnovers, I guess they're giving up too many turnovers. You can't have turnovers with the team against Golden State, whether Curry has a great game or not. But to answer your question, the key to that game obviously was Wiggins.
Okay. Chuck, what do you think?
I actually agree. I actually agree a little bit with Go Go. I don't want to stop there, though. I think the turnovers were key. I think Wiggins, it was spectacular in that game. But I also think that Boston's bench, White had been contributing. There have been games with Grant Williams have been contributing. The bench, the leading scorer off the bench for Boston had 3 points, and White only had 1. And so I think that hurt Boston. I think Jaylen Brown was 5 for 18, and he kept making them terrible shots, kept taking terrible shots. I didn't like that at all. I thought Jaylen, they're beating up on Tatum, but I thought Jaylen was the one that's not been playing great, in my opinion. And then the last thing is this guy Peyton and Poole both came off the bench. One had 16, one had 15. That punch off the bench really helped Golden State.
Neil, did you see it the same way, or did you see anything different?
I pretty much agree. Wiggins, of course, made a difference, change. Yes, I believe Tatum and Jalen really didn't show up. Tatum had like a spurt around the third quarter, but after that, it really wasn't no more of him. And the turnovers, Poole and Peyton, all of that. Yes, I agree with all that, especially the bench. It make a difference when you can't get no one to score off your bench and you got another bench scoring. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, White was playing really well throughout the playoffs, and people were really starting to buzz about him. He had a horrible game the other night.
You know, it seemed like I know Tatum and Brown played the whole second half, and I thought that might have impacted them down the stretch because they seem to be short on a lot of shots. It's shooting air balls, you know, and they seem to take shots a high degree of difficulty. Like they try to go 1-on-3 a lot, you know.
Right.
And look for fouls that are not being called. And they haven't figured out that they're not calling us this game. So
that's how it's been, Larry. Though they have not closed. They have leads or tied with Golden State in the fourth quarter, and they can't close the game. And so what that means to me is that they have several great players or really good players in Jalen and Tatum, but they're not that superstar that can close the game out. That's not easy to do, like a Kevin Durant in his day or LeBron in his day or MJ in their day. They can't close it. And I think that's a big
Did you say
factor.
LeBron in his day?
Well, he's still in his day, isn't he? He's still in his day.
Girl, did you hear that? He said that.
Thank you for correcting me, Larry. He's still in his day. That's a good point. 19 years later.
So, Chuck, let me ask you: we had this question before? Is Tatum a superstar?
It's a good question. I'm going to answer it this way. Him and Booker both are superstars with question marks, in my opinion. I'm gonna give them another year and answer this question a year from now, because I saw this guy Jimmy Butler from Miami, and them two dudes ain't Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, and that's where you make your bones in the playoffs.
Earl, it seems like you're chomping at the bit here.
No, I mean, again, everything was going fine. And Charles talking about their superstar with a question mark. What in the, excuse my language, what in the hell is that? Superstar with a question mark. No innuendo. I don't get it. But anyway, I've always been questioning whether we want to give that guy the label. But did you ask me that question?
I'm asking you.
Whether I like it or not. And he's shaking out. That boy's a superstar. That boy's bad. That boy's bad, man. He just got mental problems right now. He just got just like they say, he should know that he should be able to take whoever he wants to at any time. So I don't know what the problem is.
He got to get in the weight room. He's not strong enough.
Hey, Durant's not stronger than me. He scores anytime he wants to. Tatum can score anytime he wants to. Ain't got nothing to do with the strength. It's his mental thing. That's all. It's a mental thing.
Did you just put Tatum in the same sentence with KD?
Draymond Green did. I just read that. Draymond Green said that he says Tatum reminds him of Kevin Durant.
I would have thought it was blasphemous, but after the series where he shot KD and Kyrie down, he's not at the Kevin Durant level. I'm not drunk or smoking marijuana. Of course.
I thought he was making the analogy of strength.
There you go, Larry. It's a good analogy of strength. Charles always try to take stuff out of context and mess up the show. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
KD is 6'11", too. 6'11", 7 feet. So, yes, he's thinly built, but he's wiry, long. And Tatum, I don't know, man. He just can't go through the middle and take a bump and finish. He misses layups.
Kevin Durant can't press 140 pounds. What are you talking about?
Shoot that thing, though. You can shoot that thing.
That's my point. You can't make my point. You ain't got to be Thor or Hulk to be a good basketball player. So what are you talking about his strength for? What are you talking about?
Hey, I was going to ask Neil his opinion. Do you think Tatum's a superstar?
I think listening to them two is funny, but I think his skills-wise, yes. I mean, he can flat out do it, but I think he has to show it like Chuck is saying. When it's time to finish the game, he has to take over and finish the game. That's what superstars do. I mean, until he does that, especially in the playoff, he does it regular season. He does it, throughout, but especially now in these series, he needs to show it and finish the game and show the superstar status.
Okay. I've said this before on other shows, Neil, where I think teams with experience usually have the edge. And I thought Memphis had the athleticism to play with Golden State. But they were all like 22, 23. You know, all of them were pretty young, except for one or two of them. Boston looks a little bit older, but their two stars are still only 24, 25. And Chuck mentioned Jimmy Butler, who's like 32. He seems to know what to do when the game's on the line. And I don't know if they're probably at least as athletic as he is, but for some reason they can't seem to do it.
I just don't. I'm not trying to start nothing with Neil, but it's a long line of truck. I just don't understand. We're asking a yes or no question, a question that requires a yes or no answer, and I'm getting yeah, but, or this. Is the guy superstar?
You even answered it that way. You didn't answer yes or no.
There's nothing wrong with people
elaborating. I said he was a superstar.
Nothing wrong with people elaborating, all right? Nothing wrong with people elaborating.
And like, move on because the show's getting ready to get nasty. Let's move on to another subject.
No, I think we have to define what we mean by superstar, and I think we all know. I mean, we all have seen the greats, and when they do down the stretch, including KD, including MJ, they close games. They're just special guys. When Giannis and KD went at it in that game 7 in the playoffs last year, one had like 50, the other had 48. That's what I'm talking about when I say superstar. Now, Tatum is really good. Booker, they're really good. But are they a superstar?
I gotta think Booker is. I think
Really?
he is. I think he'll take it on his back. I mean, it gets it done most of the time.
What do you think about Larry? What is your answer to the question that you are asking us?
I answered it earlier. Yes. Now I'm not so sure. Now I'm not so sure.
Oh my God.
Now I'm not so sure.
I don't even understand.
I'm the moderator, man. I get to ask the questions.
Hey, check this out.
I'm not as sold on them anymore.
Hey, check this out.
You'll have a chance to prove it the next couple.
Whenever there's a question about something, or I don't know, it seems like everybody says they don't know. That means no. If you know, you know. When you don't know, that means no.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Well, not to prolong the show or get off track here, but give me the top 5 superstars in the NBA. Because I want to see what defines a superstar, maybe to the group. Give me the top 5.
Who do you want to go first? Like the sports doctor?
Yes.
All right. Okay. That ain't no problem. Superstars when healthy.
Okay.
Yep.
When healthy. Durant.
Yep.
Kyrie. What's the real quick. You know that monkey paw sitting on me. You know I can name him. Wow.
LeBron. You can say it.
No, LeBron is no longer a superstar.
You got
He's
to.
no longer a superstar.
Right, he's a superstar. No, we say top 5 though, right?
Me?
He's definitely a superstar.
He averaged 30 this year, Earl.
Okay, you move on because it's no damn sense to me. It's no damn sense to me answer the question. If when I answer the question, everybody gonna elaborate on what I say. So I don't want to answer the question.
Oh, we thought you was at a loss, man. So we
I'm not at a loss.
Kyrie and Durant.
Kyrie.
What about Embiid? What about Giannis?
He's 1. That's 4.
Okay.
Shit. I don't think he's 5.
Luka.
That's 5 right there.
Oh, he's come around on Luka, hadn't he, Larry? He's come around on Luka.
I mean, they ain't the only one. There ain't a whole lot of them out there that's a superstar.
I know.
And also, I left one out. Tatum is a superstar.
Is DeRozan a superstar?
No.
Is Ja Morant a superstar?
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, we got more than 5 there. So back to the series.
Well, let me ask you something. As far as closing, until this series, and I love Golden State to death, but until this series, Steph this is the first time Steph ever played well in the closing games. So is Steph Curry a superstar?
Yes, he does.
He ain't been closing until this series. He ain't been closing in none of those series they won. Is he a superstar?
Yes.
He is
Okay.
a superstar.
So you don't have to be a closer to be a superstar. So as I said, yes, Tatum is a superstar.
Okay. I knew Neil.
You know, we pick on Tatum. You know, he was. You know, we pick on him a lot on the show, and I know the talking heads will, and they don't talk about Jalen. You know, Tatum was 10 for 20 with 10 rebounds. He had 27 points with 10 rebounds. I mean,
my problem with him is turnovers, and he takes difficult shots. I always think a ball player has got to recognize what the referee is calling. The referees are allowing both teams to be pretty physical, which I thought would work in Boston's favor. And when Boston doesn't turn it over, they can reasonably guard Golden State well. I thought, you know, the fact that when you look at it, if Boston's going to win when Tatum is shooting 3 for 17, and then Golden State's going to win when Curry has his last game, you know, I would have lost both of those bets. You know, I would have gone with the other team there. But both teams are allowed to play physical, and somewhere or the other, when Boston turns it over, Golden State scores almost every time. But
we and the talking heads, we don't pick on Jaylen Brown like we pick on Tatum. And Jaylen Brown, you talking about difficult shots, Larry? He was taking so many difficult shots, missing like crazy, and kept shooting them. And so I don't know why we pick on Tatum and we don't pick on Jalen.
You know, how do you feel about
why? Because Tatum's a superstar and Jaylen Brown ain't.
Neil, how do you feel about Brown's playing these series?
I think it's been up and down. I personally think he's the second or the third. I don't think Jalen is that type of. He has great talent, but I don't just think he's that type of, I guess, superstar like Earl's saying is Tatum.
Is Tatum really that better than him, Neil?
That's right. That's my question.
I think he's a better shooter.
Okay.
He's a better shooter. Yeah, I think he's a tad bit better. I don't think it's a lot, but I think he's better than Jalen. I mean, better than Jalen.
Earl, you see a big difference in their games?
Yeah.
Big difference.
Not big.
Okay.
Tatum has the better outside shot. He has better outside shot. That's all. I think as far as them going to the basket, they're about the same. I mean, Jalen has got a couple of lucky baskets the last couple of series, but I think they're about the same as far as going to the basket. Yes, Tatum is a better player. Not much better, but he's a better player than Jaylen Brown. Yes.
So, Chuck, who's the X factor for Boston?
I think it's the bench. And when I say the bench, I don't care if it's Grant Williams. I don't care if it's White. They got to get something off that bench, a punch off that bench to give them some points. So I believe in your answer to your question, I think White is an X factor.
Neil, who do you think is?
I kind of agree that it needed a third person, I should say. One game they had Williams, one game they had Horford, one game they had White. Sometimes Smart shows up, so I think they need like a third person to help scoring on that end, like you said, and the bench. But I think they need someone to help Jalen and Tatum in scoring, especially when those two are having trouble or getting doubled and stuff like that.
What about you, Earl?
The X factor is whether Williams is healthy. He's definitely an X factor. I mean, I don't even know anybody. This guy changes. He changes the course of the game when he's healthy. At one point, one of the games, it looked like Golden State was even afraid to even drive to the basket. I think that the big man Williams is the X factor.
You know, that's what I had in mind as well. And it's sad that he's not 100%. But even though he's limping, he still seems to have good time, and he'll block their stuff when he goes in there. But I've noticed that he hasn't been on the floor down the stretch. At first, I thought that might have just been by design by the coach, but I know when he's out of there, you know, they haven't been able to stop Golden State from getting to the basket, you know, and they don't go there when he's there. There's good reason for them to be afraid because he'll throw their stuff away.
I like him. I like him, and I understand what you're saying. And Larry, you've always liked that guy. But when you play Golden State, man, he's underneath the bucket. Golden State shooting jumpers, man. Poole and Peyton and Steph and Clay, they shooting jumpers.
But they
yes,
can't
they do. They drive sometimes,
and they can't rebound with him there either, though, Chuck.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. Boston had a 9 rebound advantage over Golden State the other night. Yeah. 9 rebounds more, and they still lost. Steph, like you said, Steph still didn't have a 3, and they still lost. So they just got to get punched. They got to get some more scoring. Somebody else has got to score that basketball in the fourth quarter.
So, Neil, who's the X factor for Golden State?
Yeah, I think Wiggins. I mean, because everyone keen on Steph and hoping Clay shows up to be the old Clay, and really, I mean, when Wiggins drive, they got to collapse. He can dish off. If they don't collapse, he can take whoever one-on-one finish. He can shoot over top of people. He plays defense. I think Wiggins is the X factor.
Chuck, looks like you agree with that.
He has had a great series, man. He has had a great series. Although I think Poole is the X factor. Again, Poole gives them that punch off the bench, and I think that's who the X factor is.
Oh, Wiggins reminds me of how he's one of the greatest of all time, but how such a horrible general manager job that LeBron has done. You remember, as soon as he came in, he didn't give him a chance. Get rid of this fool. Just get rid of this fool, man. Just get rid of him.
It's amazing that he says the things he says, Earl. It really does. I'm just shocked by it. So they make a trade. They got Kevin Love, and they won a title. Wiggins, he's been in this league for how long? And we are just reciting his name. LeBron was trying to win now, not 6 years down the road. They won a title with Kevin Love, Earl.
Earl,
but that's 6 years down the road. We're talking about now.
Earl, how did LeBron's name come up this time?
I brought it up. whenever I have a chance to dog him legitimately, I will.
But you were not right in that scenario.
I was not right to you. I was not right to you.
You have to get something, you have to give something. So they had to trade a rookie number 1 pick for Kevin Love, who at the time was an all-star.
You'll make that trade.
Okay.
I gotta go with Wiggins too. I think and here's my next question. Is Tatum really better than him?
Yes.
Or Stockton? Has he played better than him in this series, I should say?
Tatum, he's just not mentally right. Tatum is a beast. Ask Milwaukee.
Has he played better than
the Nets?
Has he played better than him this series? That's really what the question is. I was going to put on.
No, he has not played better, but he has not played worse. If the worst case scenario, they've been even because Wiggins has some up and down games too. No, he has not outplayed Wiggins. Wiggins has not outplayed him either.
More contributions though from Golden State's team versus Boston's team in terms of points. I had a thing earlier before that game that if Smart, I was kind of hard on Smart because I didn't think Smart had been delivering. He had been turning the ball over. He hadn't been scoring. Well, the other night he did have some turnovers, but he had 20 points, and they still lost.
He's not a point guard.
Neil, what about Boston starters? Have they been? I mean, I was going to mention Smart and Horford. Have those guys been showing up?
Well, I can't blame Horford. Horford's 35, 36 years old, so I'm not going to beat up on him.
But he's playing. He got to show up. He showed up before. I mean,
game one, he had 26. He played really well.
At least has he even done half of that?
I think one other game he might have got double figures. The rest of the games, he seems like he's in single digits every time.
But
and again, previous series, not necessarily this one. That guy Looney or Clooney or Mooney or whatever that knucklehead's name is, he had been contributing. And people started mentioning his name. He ain't done squat in this series, quite frankly.
You know what, Chuck? He's actually played. He just doesn't get a lot of minutes. He's played better than Green has when you look at it minute for minute.
I know. Well,
And
who hasn't?
and when they set Green down in game, I guess game
And
4.
put Looney in.
Yeah.
I mean, Earl's played better than Draymond.
Rough crowd. So I was kind of getting into who has really underperformed in the series. Who's been a disappointment?
Hey, hold on.
Perfect segue.
Are you not going to defend him? You don't let him talk about your boy like that, man.
Oh, he knew I was having fun. Of course, Earl played better than Draymond.
I think y'all ought to meet up Kennedy and resolve it once and for all. That's what we do.
I wonder if we could sell tickets to that.
I'll be there right there.
You know what? I never played a basketball game against Chuck. Well, let's move on with the show. I know I would have been fouling him, hacking him.
Poor David. David has probably turned the show off tonight.
So what players have been underperforming, Chuck?
Draymond.
Draymond?
No question. Absolutely no question.
Neil, who do you think?
I hate to say it, I expected more out of Draymond, but I think he hasn't showed up to being Draymond.
You know? Right.
Earl. Disappointing players.
Draymond, Poole, Clay.
Wow.
People who are performing for Boston, I'm not surprised and disappointed because they bums anyway. Like you talking about White, he couldn't even play in the Urban Coalition game.
He had been playing well though. He had really been playing well.
No, he had been playing over his head. That's what he had been playing.
But he's been pretty consistent. I mean
through all the playoffs
until this last game. Yeah, since his baby was born. After he had a baby, he's been pretty consistent. Earl has given us nonverbal communication that he disagrees. Neil, how do you think
White's a bum, man? Come on. And far as Smart is I like you always want to have somebody like him on this team, but can I be frank? He's not no point guard. He's not a point guard. Boston needs a point guard.
I agree with you.
I agree.
Neil, how do you think the officiating has been during the playoffs?
I think everyone has home court advantage. That's the best way I could put it. If you play at home, you get an advantage with the referees. I mean, they letting them play. They are letting them play, but it seems like not the people at home get more calls than the people. Although I did read that Boston went to the line more than Golden State, but I think some of the missed calls were not called and should have been called.
So let's see. Both teams have lost one game at home, and I guess Golden State is 2-1 at home. Other ones are 1-1.
But I thought that game 2 in Boston, I didn't like the way that, and I've said this on the show before. I didn't like the way that game was officiated, and that game was played at Boston's home, and Boston didn't get the calls. Golden State did. That's the game when Draymond ran over the guy. That was the game when Draymond was flailing his arm. That was the game when Peyton went to the bucket for a layup. They hit Tatum on a foul. He didn't touch him. That's the game when Tatum and Jaylen Brown got 2 early fouls and had to sit down. So I haven't been impressed with the refereeing. Let me just say that.
But I mean, other than those, and I agree with you. I thought that they didn't take control over that. But after they called that tech on Draymond, he seemed to calm down a little bit. And again, Boston's 3 starters only get 2 points each. So
I know
I can't blame the officials that much. Earl, what do you think about the officiating?
I think it's pretty. I think it's been consistently spotty. if that's, I know that sounds like an oxymoron.
Yeah, consistently inconsistent, huh?
What can you do? As you stated earlier, I thought that when the refs let them play, it would be to Boston's advantage, but it's appearing like nope, that ain't the case. No. And it also appears to be that Kerr has been listening to me and has been playing Peyton a lot more. Peyton, he's a second X factor in this series as well.
Played really well the other night. He played really well.
Well, in my position, I have no problem with officiating. I think it's, I think the players have decided every game, But segue into coaches, okay, because I was going to ask next, and I'll start with you, Go Go. How do you think the coaches have done?
I obviously Boston coach has to be pretty good for them to get to where they are right now. Remember the beginning of the season, they were horrible.
Yeah.
This guy has got them believing in themselves. He's got them with a defensive attitude. I mean, I don't care what the stats say. Boston has the best defensive team in the league. I think he's doing a good job early, but now I think he's tripping right now, and I still think Kerr's tripping. So I don't think either one of the coaches is doing really good right at this present time during the series.
Neil, how do you feel about them?
I think they're doing okay. I think both are trying to adjust when they can. There are different matchups that, I notice when Williams gets out of hand, he tries to bring Looney in and bring somebody to keep Williams from getting rebounds and stuff like that. So I think they both are adjusting and trying to match up and things like that. Who could say who could do better? It's the championship. I mean, trying to figure out, it's like playing chess. So I can't knock what they've been doing.
Chuck, you got an opinion?
I think Neil makes a good point, and somebody else alluded to it earlier. At one point in one of those critical games, he sat Draymond down, put Looney in, and it mattered. And it was in the fourth quarter, and it mattered. So I give Kerr credit there. And he also has been playing this foreign guy,
big guy.
I think
he needs to play him more. That's the problem.
But that guy has been a little bit of a matchup problem for Boston because he's bigger, and when they put him on Jalen and/or Tatum, he's been causing some trouble too.
I'm saying he needs to play more. Kerr's tripping. Kerr's not.
The more we talk, the more I realize something. Golden State just might have better, more players, more options. And it might be a better team, just flat out. That might be the bottom line.
Hey, Charles, I've been pulling for Golden State all these years, since this year when they came back, got to play again out the playoffs. I love them. Boston, if they were mentally right, this series should be over the 6 Boston's way. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Golden State got all this and that. Boston got a good team. They're just not mentally right.
I know he hasn't stepped up, but even Otto Porter is another player who's a number. No, I know he's not good, but what I'm saying is
he's giving them something, Earl.
I'm just saying they have
their chemistry. He helps their chemistry out.
They've got Iguodala. They don't even play Kaluga or Kuminga, whatever the heck his name is.
Another mistake by Kerr.
We just talked about the big white kid that they have. They're playing now. They got Poole. They got Peyton. They cut the Splash Brothers. I mean, they got a lot of weapons on that team, really. And next year, they'll have
picked them in the first place instead of Boston if you love them like that.
Well, one thing I noticed, Boston is really short in his bench.
It really. I mean, they don't have anything on there, Larry. I can't figure that out either.
Well, I'm a proponent of when people are not scoring, you need to try somebody else.
Really?
And I can't remember this little short white guard's name.
Oh, Pritchard.
He even his shots sometimes.
He does.
Nobody else is scoring.
Yeah.
I hate him. I hate
Pritchard. That's a good point.
I hate him.
He didn't score. He didn't have anything off the bench either the other night. I'm telling you, I looked at their box score for the guys off the bench. It was bad.
But who did he really play off the bench? That's the thing.
Wise.
Other than Williams and White, yeah. And I don't think Williams is really giving them much.
No.
I might even try Tice. I mean, because if Williams is not doing anything, the other Williams, Big Williams, I like.
Right.
I would try something different.
Right.
And I like Boston's coach, but I'm seeing when they get to the fourth quarter, and when people to me, it's just like a pitcher in baseball. If you ain't get people out, you got to come out the game.
Right.
I would try something different.
There's another dirty little secret. Again, now that I've watched Golden State, I can't stand them. But I give them credit. And Larry pointed this out 2 weeks ago. Maybe Earl also commented on this. Golden State plays pretty good freaking defense too, man.
Yes,
They be manning dudes up, man. Dudes don't be free. They ain't like they are up on them, including Steph.
And they switch well. They will switch to make Steph will force you get back onto his man so he doesn't have to switch. They do that very well.
They do. They play good defense. It's not like Boston is open. That one game 1, they was whipping that ball around the fourth quarter, and those guys were wide open, and people like Horford and Pritchard and Smart, they were knocking down shots, but they were wide open. They ain't been wide open since that game 1.
Let me ask you guys something.
Good defense.
Why is it that Jaylen Brown and Tatum can do whatever they want to do in the first half of the game, but when it comes past the third quarter, they do not deliver? Do you guys have an intelligent answer for that? I'm just asking because I don't know.
Adjustments. For one, I think it's coaching adjustments. Figuring they actually been playing them now, so they know their routines, what they play. So that's just adjustments and see who's hot. Let's stop them, slow them down, all those different things.
And Neil,
you see them trying to go 1-on-3 a lot, especially in the second half.
Ridiculous.
Let me ask you this: have you guys seen the parts of the game? Because it could be monkey part on my part. I have seen games where Jaylen Brown just does whatever he wants
and Tatum
with whoever is on him. I don't understand that, but in the fourth quarter,
they don't.
I got to call somebody out to go find them.
That's funny. I agree with you, Earl. I think that's really the bottom line. That's really the bottom line. They cannot close the game. They disappear.
I think they get D'd up. I think, like Neil said, they adjust. And because I see them trying to take 1-on-3 so many times, and their legs are gone. Because at least in the last game, they didn't sit down in the second half.
Turn the ball over. They throw the ball away. Like they throw it into the crowd sometimes. Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, you're throwing the ball in the row F?
Well, let me ask you this, Charles. You're semi trying to give Golden State not some flowers, but maybe some seeds, and you're acknowledging that they have a lot of depth on their team. My question to you would be, if you saw all of that, why would you be rooting for Boston to win?
Part of it is because I hate them. And the other part is I didn't really analyze them as well as I've analyzed them now.
That's the answer I'm looking for. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I appreciate you for being frank. Thank you.
Hey, but when you think about it, Boston has had a rough road. I mean, they beat some good teams.
Yes,
now, other than Brooklyn, the last 2 teams they played, people were injured. They had some injuries, but they still went through them. And
Brooklyn was injured too. In Brooklyn, they didn't have Simmons. They didn't have Joe Harris. I mean, everybody. I mean,
they never had Simmons.
Well, my point is they were wounded. I mean, they only had those 2 guys, KD and Kyrie. The rest of them didn't step up. And by the way, those games were close with 5 or 6 minutes to go, and all 4 of those games, even though it was a sweep,
the total difference in points was only 18 points for a game. But I thought Boston, they were like slaying all these challenges in front of them, and I slept on Golden State too. They have a deep team, and they seem, how they always say the reserves play better at home. Well, their bench really showed up this last game when Curry had a bad game.
Yeah.
I wonder if Boston's bench is going to show up. So, what must Boston do to win game 6? And I'll start with you, Neil. What changes do they have to make?
Play defense and try to score. Shoot better than 40%, which is not bad, but Steph and them shot almost 50%. So yeah, defense and try to outscore. I mean, it's obvious, but it's harder done.
Stop throwing the ball away.
That's true. Like you said, like going in the triple team defense, and
they had 18 turnovers. The other team had 7, and every other stat, Boston was equal with them.
They outstatted them. They sure did.
Right. It's just the turnovers are killing them.
Earl, you got anything to add to that?
You know he do.
Boston has to spend some of that team money. Send.
Okay, time out. What do they have to do to win game 6?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. They got to spend some of that money and expedite Jaylen Brown and Tatum to Oz to get some brains and hope they can get back in time for the 6th game. Because these boys are they're being outthought. They're not thinking. And unless they go to Oz and get some brains, this series, as I said, is over in 6.
Neil, he's been saying that the whole time, even before the series started.
I saw his post on Facebook reminding people that he said it.
No, he's been right. He's been right. I've been wrong.
So last question on basketball. And this will get you guys to think for a second. Who is the all playoff team? If you had to pick 5 players, top 5 players in the playoffs this year.
Including the entire playoffs?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
1 big man, 2 forwards, and 2 guards.
1 big man, 2 forwards, and 2 guards. Well, for me, it would be Jimmy Butler and Luka, for sure. Steph. Embiid, I guess.
Over Giannis?
And Giannis. So I would
one of them are they both centers?
Yes, good point. So you're right. I'd have Giannis, I'd have Steph, I'd have Luka, I'd have Butler, Jimmy Butler, and who was the other one I said?
You need one more. You said Embiid.
I had Giannis, Luka, Steph. God, who was the other one I said? I said somebody else.
I come back to you.
Yes.
Neil.
So my question, what position is Giannis?
Good question.
Well, I think he plays center.
Oh, because I would have put him at power forward.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. But who's Milwaukee center though? Any Milwaukee center?
Lopez.
I was thinking Lopez was.
Lopez comes off the bench. He's not their starting center, but yeah.
Who's their starting center? Who starts for them?
I think Giannis is their starting center.
No, I'm just saying who's their starting 5. That's what I'm trying to think.
Giannis, the boy that got hurt.
Middleton, the guard.
The guy like Holiday.
Yeah. I like him. Holiday.
And at the end of the season, they had that other 6'9" boy who was shooting jumpers. Everybody rally around, but he really overrated. I don't know.
Talking about Portis.
At least I described him right. Yes.
That's
only 4 starters. Who's their 5th one?
One of the white guy that I can't remember his name.
Haneke.
Haneke
or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
If he's a black guy, would you remember his name?
Probably so. Hey, HBCU, baby. I say Joel because he's a true center. He just knocked Giannis out. KD carried him. He carried the Nets. Without him, they probably wouldn't have been where they are.
Hey, they had one good game. Come on, Neil. Come on.
But who else they had then other than him?
Well, they didn't win Neil, they didn't win a game.
Okay.
Obviously, they didn't have anybody.
No, I'm telling on myself, I'm a KD fan, dude.
I guess I would put Tatum in there. The last was my last one.
Okay.
Oh man. Steph. This is hard.
It is.
This is hard.
Steph, Luka, Steph
Yeah,
Steph
Curry.
and Butler are locks.
Right, I agree with you. Earl.
Butler's name to be in there. Yeah.
I
yes,
know.
I agree.
Steph,
I have
Luka.
this
The boy from Milwaukee is a lock.
Yeah,
If you want to put
Giannis.
him at the power forward,
And so Tatum is
Yeah,
the
that's
other,
what
I
I
guess
said. I
Tatum.
put Giannis in power forward. So I
Yeah.
guess it's Embiid, Giannis, Steph. Let's say Luka.
and Butler.
Butler.
Yeah, and Butler.
Tatum ain't on that team, y'all.
He's not. He's in the finals.
Well, but see, Chuck didn't have two centers like y'all do.
It's look, Giannis is a power forward. Giannis not no center, man. Giannis is a power forward. No center dribble the ball like that. Man.
If you put Giannis in Embiid, what you think? Who would take him? Who would be a pure center? I think Embiid, post up, rebound, and all. Although Giannis is a freak of nature.
Oh yeah. No, I think Embiid had a great year. I was all on his bandwagon, but it's hard for me to pick somebody above Giannis. I mean, hard.
Embiid is a better center than Giannis for me. That's we all splitting hairs, man.
Right.
That's right. All right. Anybody else got anything else to say? They want to say about the NBA?
It was a good exchange. It was good.
Okay. So I'm gonna pivot to the NFL now. Couple of things. Well, one thing happened. I know last week we all talked about Del Rio's comment, and this week Ron Rivera gave a speech that said he was fining him for the distractions he caused. I don't, that's kind of like a, I don't know what the hell that meant. I'm fining him for the distractions. Should he have fined him for the distractions? If he should he have disciplined him at all for the distraction? And if so, or should he have done it? If so, was the fine appropriate? Chuck, we'll start with you.
It's a good question. I think we need a better defensive coordinator even before he said those words. I think the fine. I mean, it's such a train wreck in terms of how to respond to that comment. My initial reaction was they should fire him, but I think I think he's on a pitch count now, though. I don't think he can have any more craziness, or he's going to be gone. So I think the penalty was fine.
Okay. I heard you say that. Neil, what do you think?
I guess I looked at it as quote unquote corporate America. If he was at a regular job and they went on social media and so he said that they probably would bring him in, depending on what and the job thing says, if what you can do on social media, if what we do to you, do we recommend you or things like that or whatever. And that's how I looked at it. So I looked at it as him going to his supervisor, getting reprimanded for it, and maybe they fined him for it. That's what they do in their corporation. They fined him for, whatever amount. And that's how I looked at it. Firing him, if that's what the job felt that needed to be done, because yeah, they fired, because I've seen people in regular jobs get fired for minor and major things. So I just looked at it as a job, not necessarily sports being in media, that thing. I just looked at it what has a job would do and a position and all that stuff. So yeah, I think the fine was what I guess they felt was good for their corporation or company.
Right. Okay. Earl, what do you think?
Look, of course it was a cover up. First of all, Ron Rivera, he already knows that Jack Del Rio is a Latino redneck dog. He already knows that. So they're just trying to do public relations thing. And you can't just fire somebody because there wouldn't be anyone working in NFL, all those redneck dogs working in there thinking the way they think. There wouldn't even be anybody left to work in the NFL.
Is Jack Del Rio Latino? I didn't know that. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
The name sounds like it. I never thought about that either, but the name sounds like it.
I don't know. I could be making an ass out of you and me and making that assumption. I don't know no brothers running around called Del Rio, but that doesn't mean that he's not like that.
Right.
He is. I'm making an assumption.
Right.
Whether Latino or European, whatever, for him to say something like that, he's a redneck dog. He's ignorant, and you can't do nothing about ignorant people. All you can try to do is educate them, but finding them ain't gonna educate them. This is gonna take some money out of their pocket. Finding them is just making the public seem like, okay, you guys did something. Okay, all right, you move on. Come on, get out of here.
I thought the fine was a strange amount. I'm the type of person, if I'm going to fine you that much, I might consider firing you. I mean, that's $100,000 is a lot of money.
What ground would you fire him on?
Well, when you represent a company, and when you do something and people know that you're part of that company, like for him, he's not like the janitor that works at Redskins Park. He's a defensive coordinator. When you embarrass the company, lots of times that's the reason to get fired. You hurt their brain.
So now y'all want to fire me, right? That's what you said?
No, we would never fire you. Never. You are the brand. We try to live up to you. No, but in this situation, and the other thing, if you're going to, you said something important, Earl, how about educating them? I would force them to go to classes because he said some stuff. It's one thing to call the Capitol riot a dust up, which he did, which is wrong. But he also sort of said, investigate Black Lives Matter or something like that. And that's what really threw me. He conflated two entirely different things. One's trying to overthrow the country, as opposed to civil unrest. And I don't know. If I was running the show, he'd be in trouble. But
there was a part of me thought he might have been trying to get fired. That's the kind of stuff you do when you're trying to get fired.
But then now he's making sense. So who in the hell wants to work for the commander?
but then the thing about it, what Rivera said, I'm not finding him for what he said. I'm finding him because of distractions. I heard Rivera. Rivera sounded like an idiot to me. He said he read the Constitution, the First Amendment of the Constitution, for about 15 or 20 minutes. It has 42 words. How long does it take to read that? and that's what freedom of speech. Freedom of speech says the government is not going to throw you in jail. It doesn't say anything. You go in and cuss your boss out. You have freedom of speech, but you won't go to jail, but you won't be working there. So I don't know. This whole thing is just stupid. The whole organization is killing me there.
Yeah.
But I'll get off my soapbox. Hey, Montrezl Harrell was caught
3 pounds or 330 pounds or what? It was a
3
lot.
pounds of marijuana in his car in Kentucky. Did you guys hear about that?
I saw that.
Yeah.
What kind of car do you have?
Actually, it was a Honda Pilot. Yep.
Honda Pilot.
It all comes out. It all comes out.
Well, he was stopped for driving too close to another vehicle. Not speeding, but driving too close to another vehicle. When the police pull him over, they smell marijuana. They search his car. He's got 3 pounds. He's charged with trafficking.
Wow.
Wait, what kind of car holds 300 pounds?
No, 3 pounds. 3 pounds.
Okay, so what's the big deal?
I guess over a pound is trafficking or something. It's in Kentucky. I don't know what the
I read it.
Kentucky.
You can get up to, I want to say 5 pounds is a certain amount of charges. Under 5 pounds is like a felony with up to 5 years, and it was different things. Yeah, but the wild part is people are for him. They're against it. They're like, Kentucky has one of the strictest rules right now for marijuana. So people are fighting against it, and they're for him now, be saying that you shouldn't be doing that. So many states suspend. So
he's dumb. Why you gonna have 3 pounds of marijuana in Kentucky?
Same thing I said. Maybe they thought he wasn't gonna get caught because he's who he is. Like,
remember that Dallas Cowboy guy? Who's the Dallas?
Yeah, he had like 170.
Oh my God, he was crazy.
Something crazy, like maybe more than that.
Yeah,
And then he got arrested. And then he got arrested Earl.
Newton, yeah.
And then he got arrested like 2 months later for like something similar or something crazy.
He was trafficking to me. I think Montrez was probably found some good bush and said, okay.
Yeah, they said it was what is it? The pack it down
Yeah,
in a
vacuum
little
pack,
hydrated
yeah.
bag. Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's his personally. He's
Right.
just packing it up, putting it away.
That's right, though.
Yeah.
Nate Newton had like, it was ridiculous
Yeah.
how much he had.
Yeah, like 175 pounds or something like that, you know.
That's because Jerry Jones they want to give him the bag. That's why.
Gracious.
Come out here, man.
Okay, we're getting close to the end, so I'm gonna throw one more thing out there. A couple of weeks ago, I seem to take a lot of flack, even though I turned out being right, talking about Tiger returning. Serena's coming back to play in Wimbledon. Does she have a chance to win that? You know, she's one victory away from tying for the most majors titles.
With Margaret Court or something, yeah.
Yeah. Good idea for her to come back, Neil?
Hey, how many times she's won there?
7 times.
7.
Yeah, I look at it like, hey, why not? I've done well here all the time. I know the court. Yeah, why not? It helps her endorsements, all those.
She hasn't played for about a year though.
I think she knows her body, what she could do. Yeah, why not? That's how I look at it. If you feel like you could do it, step out there and try it.
You think she has a shot at winning?
No.
Yeah, because she stepped out there. I'm not sure because these young ladies been playing lately and she's getting up there. But,
you know what Earl said about not sure, right?
Yeah.
Hey, if someone you doesn't love asks you, do you love them? If you love them, you say yeah. If you don't, you say I don't know.
Earl, does Serena have a chance of winning her 8th Wimbledon title?
No.
Chuck, what do you say?
No, she doesn't have a chance. I'm glad. I mean, I'm okay with her trying, but I don't think she can win it.
Okay, so I have a question for two of the panel. See, I said no for Tiger last time. How can you guys thought Tiger had a chance? He was much more removed from it than Serena. Why can't Serena win it?
Because she's falling off.
They got some young girls out here, man, that's hitting that ball.
They're coming like crazy.
I don't want to be her.
And I'm not worried about the young golfers that are out here as far as Tiger's concerned. Tiger, I didn't know he was struggling that bad, even though I know he's been had serious problems. But he's Tiger Woods. He always got a chance. Serena Williams, that's an excellent question to ask him because she's the greatest tennis player of all time. Like, we would put her in the same pedestal as Tiger, but I don't.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I don't.
Okay.
Larry was trying to get us tonight, wasn't he, with that Earl? Larry was trying to, redeem himself, get us.
I'll put it this way. I think she has a better chance of winning another major than Tiger does.
No.
Well, see, here's the thing, Larry. She's had some minor injuries, but nothing major. When Serena goes several tournaments without winning, that means she just don't have no more. Look, she's
40.
Dogging everybody she played.
She's 40. She had a baby,
Yeah, well, she's done.
I'm not sure we've heard the last of Tiger, Larry, but I hope we have the show when that happens so we can get you and flip the script on you.
I'm more confident in Serena winning one more than Tiger.
Tiger plays Masters in Augusta, and he knows that course well. He won it 2 years ago, Larry.
Hey, Larry.
Last time he won one.
Larry, Charles is delusional. She suffers from delusions all the time, man. Come on. Tiger's done, man. He's done.
See, Earl's come over to my side now.
Yeah,
I don't think we even then we were saying that it was a guarantee or anything. We said, sure, he has a chance. Yeah,
right. That was the same question I was asking you guys.
Because he's Tiger, because he's got a chance.
Well, let me ask the show's resident golf expert, Charles. Why are they crying? Why does the PGA have the ability to suspend the people that are going to the Live tournament? What's the problem?
It's like the ABA. It's like the ABA, NBA back in the day. They finally got competition. They don't like it, and they feel like
suspending people would just make more people go over to the other thing.
Well, here's the deal with that. Chuck is right. They are competition, but the majors are not tied to the PGA, so they can invite. And the U.S. Open has already said they're not suspending anything.
In fact, they're playing. I think Davis or what's the guy? What's Tiger's nemesis guy? Phil Mickelson and those Mickelson and those guys are playing.
He's not his nemesis.
I knew you was talking about, Chuck. But yeah, so what they have is a competing organization that pays golfers to show up, which the PGA doesn't do. So they can.
Why won't they just pay the players too? They should just pay the players what they want.
Well, they probably should, but they didn't have to do it all this time, and now all of a sudden they got some competition that's paying them. And when those guys can go to the majors, they're probably like, "What the heck?" I won't.
So basically, they're saying we're the organization, PGA. What are they? They're kind of like a golf like NCAA or something.
Exactly.
Their tournament. They say suspend you whenever they want to, do whatever they want to, regardless of what you do.
But it's
so for example, if you were in the ABA and you were playing in the ABA, you couldn't play in both, right? You couldn't play in the NBA.
They have some kind of contract. They don't have no kind of contract.
I see what you're saying.
But here's the difference. How are you going to suspend somebody that said, I'm going to play in this other league anyway, when they're paying me to show up?
and all those guys are going to show up for anyways for the majors, the 4 majors, and the majors are tied to that. I don't know. It's a money thing. And if you're certain guys, especially the guys who are older, they're just trying to get that last payday before they're done. And I heard something where Dustin Johnson, whatever he signed for with Live, he will make more money than Tiger Woods has made in his career playing golf or something. It was something crazy like that.
So you're gonna see a whole bunch of people signing up over there soon.
You already see a lot going on for them.
Suspend me.
And plus they only play 50. They don't play 72 holes. They only play 54 holes. It's only a 3-day tournament for them.
Oh wow! More money, less work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have a second thought about it. See you, PGA. See you. And then now the reason why everyone's against them is because they say the Saudis and
Well, as we talked about before, the PGA's history isn't that great either. Masters didn't even have black membership until Tiger got there.
I'm one of those people. I know sometimes I know right from wrong, but I ain't never gonna be caught saying nothing bad against the United States. I may think of a thing, but I ain't gonna never say nothing publicly bad about the United States.
The PGA is different than the United States to me. I mean, PGA has they've had exclusionary rules, and even when I did the closing remarks on Lee Elder, I pointed out some of the things that he was having to deal with. But anyway, we're at the end of our show, so it's time for closing comments. Chuck, do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. I saw a movie over the weekend called Hustle. Hustle, the star of the movie is Adam Sandler, and he is a scout for the Philadelphia 76ers. And he goes around the world, actually, looking for talent, trying to find the next Giannis, if you will. And Queen Latifah is his wife. Anthony Edwards from Minnesota is kind of like the villain or the bad guy in this. It's just a really, really well-done movie. It's entertaining. You guys would love it. All the hundreds of thousands of viewers who are watching, they would love it as well. And so I would recommend on Netflix, check out Hustle.
On Netflix?
On Netflix.
Neil, you got any closing comments?
I really didn't have any.
This is an optional thing. I mean, I was trying to put it in an email. If you feel like you want to shout out to your crew out in Southeast,
What I will do is I'll say shout out to, and it's kind of interesting, Hyde. Remember I used to teach at Hyde? They had an first all black rugby team in the nation. So they meeting up, I want to say either this weekend or next weekend to come back together and, reunion. So I give shout out to Hyde rugby team, and a lot of them did end up playing for United States team nationally and stuff like that. So give a shout out to them, and yeah, that's it.
That was a good shout out. That was a good shout out. Definitely. Earl, you got anything?
Nothing intelligent, no.
Okay, and I don't have anything either. So that's going to do it for this week's edition of Real Fellas Talk Sports. Neil, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Great job, Neil.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week. Well, I think the host will be Chuck. Is that right? Or was it Earl? We'll figure it out by next week.
It'll be Charles, and I can't wait because he's a good moderator. He really
definitely is. So take care, America. We'll see you next week.
America. Good job tonight.
Thanks.
Okay.
Go Boston.